All right. So from small
to massive
to bigger.
Yeah. So this is really cool. Now, it must be a couple of years ago, we went down to Rift Amps.
Yeah, at least.
And built a couple of Tweed amps, the 5E3.
Yeah, deluxe,
circuit,
Tweed deluxe.
Tweed
One
Deluxes.
of them's there. Unfortunately, my rubbish wiring means that it doesn't work very well.
I think both of ours ended up
not
getting
working. Rewired.
Yeah. Anyway, so Chris from Rift has started building these called the EL34, and the idea is that basically plug it into anything except an EL34 amp, and you can tweak it to give it the flavor of, those lovely EL34 Marshall-esque type tones.
Yeah, so the danger is you go, oh, EL34, it's supposed to sound like a Marshall. It's not that, is it?
No.
It's supposed to just specifically for Fender type amps? 6L6 amps?
I think he says you can basically plug it into any other power stage, including EL34s, 6V6s, 6L6s, 5881s.
Yeah, okay. EL34 EQ and BOOST accurately recreates the sound, feel and harmonics of the classic EL34 pentode power tube. Valve. Yeah, exactly what you just said. Use with any of those other amps to get the flavour.
Yeah.
Or plug it into an EL34 amp for even more.
For even more flavour.
Yeah.
Right.
Fully hand wired, up to the standard of his amps. Blah 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 blah.
Like putting salt and pepper on your Doritos. More flavour.
Okay. All right then. So I guess we should use the deluxe reverb to begin with, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
Gagne then. Rolls off the bottom end, pushes the upper mids.
Yeah.
Kind of what you would expect from what I would consider from a Marshall type EQ response. So from an EQ perspective, it's starting to do that job. We've got the tone roll down there. I suspect that comes into its own as the amp gets gainier.
Right.
Before we hit the drive side, let's just hear it into the Marshall for more of more. the bottom end roll off really comes into its own when you roll the gain on, exactly as expected. Here you go, have a try.
Very, very cool.
Okay, tell you what's interesting about that is there is a danger here that over YouTube and in the recorded sound in the way which we do it, the rolling off of bass and the adding of those cutting high mids,
And you're going to think, oh, that doesn't sound very pleasing.
doesn't sound very pleasing. That is, even though it's not billed as a Marshall pedal, that is closer to what I would consider the Plexi response than a lot of pedals with Plexi written on them, which all have too much gain and too much bass.
Yes.
I can see that working at volume in a band.
So how many clean pedal platforms that, you know, that we love and, you know, for sparkly high end, big fat thing. But if you really want that driving tight response, really challenging to get,
Yeah.
that is really, really cool. I'll tell you one other thing just quickly.
That's one other thing I want to try, actually.
But check this out. So here you go. There's both amps on, right? Listen to this.
Oh, wow. Super low noise.
There's almost no extra noise in it. And that's a lot more gain.
That's killer. That's a real grown-ups guitar sound. That.
It really
And
is.
I don't mean to be disparaging to anyone who isn't grown up, but that is really serious, proper, loud. You know what it reminds me of? Phil X.
Right.
Whenever you hear Phil X play the guitar live at one of his clinics or at a gig or a jam or something like that, it's always so much more aggressive than you ever think a guitar tone needs to be.
Yeah.
And yet when
Yeah.
it's there with the bass and drums, what it means is you can hear everything. And it just does remind me of that. The other thing, it by rolling off the bass and pushing those mids, it's very different, but it does remind me of a clonny type thing.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Of what the clon does. So let's just try this a sec. We'll just go into the Fender for a second. It's not that.
No.
It's not that lower mid range.
No,
it's definitely upper mid range.
The sizzle.
Which is what that certainly vintagey Marshall sound is all about.
That's so interesting.
That's really cool. I'm looking forward to playing that a bit more for sure. Nice one, Chris.
Yeah. Wow.
You're in no doubts as to what's on in there, what it's supposed to be doing with the graphics as well.
The wiring inside, no circuit board, It's all done similar way to
Marcus Reeves and Neil Grimes. Every time we mention Marcus Reeves, I always think we should mention Neil Grimes from NRG as well, because Neil's doing that beautiful work as well. So
yeah.
good,
Fantastic.
nice.
Right.
Catlin bread.
Catlin